So first they need to spot the fish, then they need to catch them. So this is Maya showing off her speed through the water. Dolphins can swim up to 25 miles an hour. They use that very powerful tail fluke to move it in an up and down motion in order to propel them through the water. Now they're also very maneuverable. This is Chesapeake showing off how maneuverable she is in the water. They use those pectoral fins on either side of their body to spin them around and allow them to move. Because if a fish dodges to get away from them, well, they've got to be able to dodge to catch the fish. And this is Bailey coming back around as well. So dolphins are very fast swimmers in order to catch their fish. Now, speed is not everything. Dolphins also want to be smart about how they catch those fish. So they follow the adage, work smarter, not harder. So they come up with a bunch of different strategies in order to help increase their hunting efficiency. So the first one we're going to talk about today is actually using bubbles. So dolphins are mammals, they do breathe air, and they will actually go and blow bubbles underneath the surface of the water to catch their fish. So you might think, okay, how are bubbles helping? What the dolphins will do is they'll go blow a ring of bubbles around a school of fish. This is Chesapeake over here. She's showing one of her vocalizations off. Now dolphins will actually go swim underneath the school of fish and blow a circle of bubbles around this school of fish. Now fish, for whatever reason, they're not going to swim across this line of bubbles. So the bubbles act as a net. So this entraps the fish, and we have Maya and Bailey showing off their bubble blowing abilities. You notice there that air is coming out of that blowhole on the top of their heads. So the dolphins will blow a net of bubbles around a school of fish, and this traps them in what's known as a bait ball. So a bait ball is just a very tight aggregation or school of fish. Now once the fish are trapped in this bait ball inside this ring of bubbles, all the dolphins have to do is dart through the bait ball and pick off the fish as they go, because they've got them stuck in a smaller area where there's less chance for them to escape. Now that's one strategy dolphins have developed. There's another strategy where the dolphins actually use the shoreline to their advantage. So there's a pod of dolphins off the coast of South Carolina that has developed a way of using that shoreline to their advantage. So instead of using bubbles to herd the fish, they will actually herd the fish as close to the shore as they possibly can. Now the fish, they can't swim out of water, so that's a barrier to them. So what the dolphins will then do is, once they get close to the shoreline, they will come up the side of the beach on their sides and then snatch the fish out of the shallows. So this is Chesapeake, Bailey, and Maya showing off how they can strand themselves in order to get the fish. So in that position, they just get the fish out of the shallow water, and it's much easier. They're not chasing the fish all over anymore. Now there's another strategy that dolphins have developed, again using the shoreline. This one was done by a pod of dolphins on the coast of Western Australia. Now these guys are actually catching their fish in as little as an inch of water. So what the dolphins will do again is they will herd the fish far up the shoreline. And then what the dolphins themselves will do is pick up some speed and go hydroplaning across the surface of the water. And as they're skimming across the surface in this shallow area, they just pick off the fish as they go by. So again, it's a really effective hunting strategy for them because they're reducing the fish's ability to escape. They're not chasing the fish all over the ocean anymore. They're getting them into an isolated area, and then it's much easier for them to just pick them off. Now, the really cool thing about these different strategies is that these are all learned behaviors. Dolphins are not already instinctually knowing how to hydroplane or even to blow a bubble net to help them catch their fish. They learn these behaviors on their own and then pass them down generation to generation. So mothers teach their young how to do these different feeding strategies, and then that strategy gets passed on to their calves, and so on and so forth. Dolphins actually do learn through mimicry, so you can see all of our girls are copying their trainers as they do different behaviors. So that's exactly how dolphins would teach their young how to do hunting strategies. They would do these different behaviors, and then the dolphin babies, the calves, would actually just copy their moms. So if you can watch, they have very good eyesight, so they're watching their trainers for every single motion that they do. And we can use this mimicry to help train some of these different behaviors. So we get a good test of their eyesight right there. And you can see that they have very good eyesight, and they definitely can pay very close attention to each and every single one of our movements. Now, in order to pull off these different hunting strategies, dolphins have to have some way of communicating with each other. They have to work as a team. So dolphins can actually produce really wide variety of different vocalizations or sounds, and each one of these noises actually comes out of the blowhole on the top of their heads. So even though their mouths might be opening, no sounds coming out of there. This is Maya.
That's her name, Maya.
That's Bailey. And that was Chesapeake and Maya again. So all of those different sounds are all coming out of that blowhole on the top of their heads. So even though you might have seen their mouths opening and closing and moving around quite a bit, all that's doing is just changing around the musculature inside their heads in order to enable them to produce all those different noises. Now, that's not the only way dolphins can actually communicate. They will also use the surface of the water to send messages to each other. So the dolphins will actually impact the surface with either their pectoral fins, their tail flukes, or even their entire bodies in order to create a sound. So you hear Maya hitting the surface of the water with her pectoral fins. That's creating that smacking sound on the surface. And Bailey and Chesapeake are going to show what we call tail bobbing. Now these noises can be heard for a really good distance. Sound travels very well through the water. So that's a good signal for other dolphins in the area that maybe there's something interesting over here. Now the sound also has another purpose, and this is to create an impact that can actually be used to stun fish. So you heard Maya hit the water, and that made a really loud smacking noise. And she's going to come over here and show you guys on this side as well. Now these different sounds and the impact of them actually hitting the surface of the water can also be used to stun fish. So if the dolphin impacts and actually lands on the fish, that's going to stun them, and when the fish are stunned, they're not swimming very fast anymore, and again the dolphin doesn't need to work as hard to catch them. That was Chesapeake.
One drop on my leg. One drop.
And this is mine. Now the other benefit to things like these aerial behaviors and these breaches, as we call them, is that if a dolphin gets something stuck on it, like a parasite, that's Chesapeake showing off one of her high-flying behaviors. Now if a dolphin gets something stuck on it, like a parasite or a fishing line or anything, they don't have hands like us. They can't use their hands to pick off that sort of stuff. So if they get stuck in something like a piece of fishing line or get a parasite on them, those breaching behaviors are actually really useful for the dolphin to try and get that stuff off of them. The impact of hitting the water could rub off a parasite, and the twisting motion can also help them to become disentangled from whatever they might have become stuck in. So in addition to things like the plastic bags and the plastic bottles, fishing line is another big danger for these guys. So if you do ever see any of that stuff, make sure it does get disposed of properly so these guys don't ever get stuck in it. So I hope you guys had the chance to learn a little bit more about dolphins and their hunting strategies. I'm going to step off the mic. Our trainer's going to continue on with their session, so feel free to stick around and check out the rest of that interaction. We are an open exhibit, so we are open until 5:30 today, so about 15 more minutes. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to come over and ask. My name's Gretchen. I will be hanging out over here on the right-hand side. Thanks for visiting us.
It's crazy. At least 10.
Maybe. I think somebody's going to get wet. Aubrey, did you get wet?
I need to do it again. Oh wow, it's burning. It picks up serious speed. Like this. Here it goes. You can see it goes.